Hello and welcome, friends of Dinokeng Game Reserve. This is Matt's Habitat, and I'm your host, Matt Templey. I'm a wildlife monitor for Dinokeng Game Reserve, and in this series, we uncover some of the remarkable stories on what it takes to make a place like Dinokeng Game Reserve work. Coming to you from the heart of Dinokeng Game Reserve, alongside this beautiful waterhole.
Answer the sky, basically.
Hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Matt's Habitat with me, Matt, your host, and today our guest is Karli. Welcome to the podcast. Could you introduce yourself, tell us what you do here, and introduce your furry friend as well, please?
Hello, my name is Karli. Now, just started a week ago here, and this is Bandit, my canine. So we're still in the bonding phase, but yeah.
Fantastic. So I presume you're obviously one of the canine handlers within the anti-poaching
Yes,
unit.
that's correct.
And well, let's speak a little bit about Bandit since he's here and looking as handsome as ever. What kind of dog is he, and why is his breed such a good dog for anti-poaching?
Well, he's a Malinois, and his breed is good because they have got stamina to do the job that needs to be done, and the bite force is amazing to have in the field, but also their noses. That's why we use them in this field, because on a track, in difficult environment, it's always good to have a dog to show us with their noses where to go and what to do.
Okay, so I mean, he's not only just kind of an attack dog, but he also sniffs out. And what kind of training would he have to go through in order to pass as an anti-poaching dog? I'm sure there's quite a rigorous training that needs to be done with him.
Yes, so you have to work your dog every day. So yeah, it's just what you put into the dog, you will get out. Training wise, a lot of out in the field training with tracking, obedience, bite work. Every second of training counts in this field to make it a perfect arrest.
Yeah.
That counts.
I'm sure. And I mean, you were speaking about you now in the bonding phase. You know, how important is it to have a bond with your canine and kind of have one person only having that bond with the dog?
It's important because you need to be able to trust your dog in a scenario where your backup can't get to you fast enough and it's just you and your canine. And sometimes you need to put your focus off your canine to your surroundings. In the bush, in the Big Five area that we are, you need to watch out not for your own life but for your partner, your canine's life as well. And that's the important part.
Okay. And then a bit about you. What is your background? I know you said you've just started in the game reserve. What did you do before this? Did you have other canine experience? Did you come from a completely different background, or what did you do before this?
So before this, I've been at a canine training facility up in Hoedspruit where we help train the canines for anti-poaching for the parks there. I worked with 14 other canines, brilliant dogs, and I just wanted to experience the work in the bush, anti-poaching and all of that. Yes.
Now, obviously these dogs are used all around the world in different forms of security and all that. Why did you choose anti-poaching in specific, as opposed to any other kind of form of security?
It's what I wanted to do since I was a little girl. Always work with canines and work out in the bush. It's a passion. So
it's not only a passion for canines, but also a passion for the bush as well.
For the bush and for the wildlife. Yeah. Yes.
You spoke about your training and the dog handling experience that you've got. What sort of qualifications would one need in order to work with these dogs? I'd imagine it's quite a skill and that you'd need to be able to read them and to train them. So what are the standards to be able to do dog handling?
So you got different standards, but DH1 till 5. DH5 is your highest point. the age 1 you start at basic kennel keeping and just caring for a working pet or a working canine. The age 2 you step it up a notch for security work and on-leash bite work, and then 3 a step further for you go into tracking and off-lead bite work and security basically, and then 5 you going into tracking and also
Sniffing.
So yeah, tracking, sniffing, detection is your highest point because they differs from narcotics right through to explosive.
Okay.
So yeah.
And if somebody was interested in becoming a dog handler and getting up to DH5, how long would that take for somebody to do?
It's usually between 12 weeks or 14 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very
So
cool.
it's not a long course, but it's
Quite intensive.
Quite intensive, yes.
Okay. And what challenges would you face being a canine handler and being part of the anti-poaching unit?
So this is a very male dominant field, but being a canine woman dog handler in this field, it's amazing. There's a lot of still doors that can open. It's not many challenges, but there is a few. But yeah, it's not overcomable.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you're willing to do the job, it's your passion, do it. Go into it.
You can do it just as well as anybody.
Yes, of course.
Very cool. And what is a day in the life of a canine handler? What is your daily routine? What do you, from when you wake up to when you go to sleep at night?
When you go to bed. So my daily routine is as early as I can. I get up, go check on the dogs, to take the dogs out, do a training session with them before it gets too hot, and then around about 9-10 o'clock put them away for a rest or just a little bit of a break, and then continue with the normal anti-poaching stuff that we need to do. And then from there in the afternoons I do another session with the dogs and then feed, and then they can rest as well. Yeah.
So like you said earlier, it's obviously like an ongoing thing, and training needs to be done all the time.
You never stop.
Yeah. That's awesome. Few more questions before we end. Obviously you're new to Dinokeng and you haven't been here for too long, but you obviously know a little bit about the reserve. What do you enjoy most about working here, or what have you enjoyed most about working here so far?
Definitely the canines. It's most definitely the canines. Every canine has a different tick, and it's my excitement is to figure out what give that canine that tick.
Them. How many canines does the unit have?
The unit, the South unit has 3 canines.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. And all Malinois or?
No, there's a short-haired pointer as well. Yes.
Okay. Awesome. When you take the dogs out into the field, what sort of activities would you do with them? What would an operation consist of?
Okay, so the operation consists of is what we call snare sweeps. So we take the canines out with us on the snare sweeps because you don't know what's going to happen in the field. So we search the blocks that we need to do, and also it's nice to have extra good ears in the bush, so we can read up on their body language if something is following us, or if there's something
like
in
a lion or something like that.
Yeah, if there's something in the proximity.
Okay.
Maybe a fresh guys that wanted poachers wanted to set up snares or did set up snares, and it's always good to have the canines by your side at all times.
Okay. Can the canines, are they trained to sniff out snares, or are you still working on that?
you can train a canine to sniff out snares. I've seen it a few times. I don't think it's easy to do it, but it's possible, yes.
You've got a lot of work to do there.
Yes, absolutely. I've got a lot of work to do.
Cool. Karli, obviously we've spoken in other episodes about funding and the costs that it takes to run a game reserve. I'm sure the canine unit isn't much different. I'm sure it costs a lot of money to maintain kennels and stuff, and obviously keep the dogs in good condition. What sort of costs would you expect to have operate in a canine unit?
So the cost mostly of the cost goes into food and vet bills, and then also equipment. Having the right equipment, and if the equipment has a fault on, it's always good to get a new equipment for your dog safety and your safety, obviously. And running costs on food.
Yeah, and I'm sure these dogs are not cheap as well either to buy. I'm sure when they do come trained, they're quite expensive too. What are you looking at for a fully trained dog initially?
For a fully trained working dog, it will go the biggest price I've heard of, it's between 90 and 80 grand.
Really? Yeah.
Yes, fully trained, operational canine.
And obviously you still need to upkeep that and upkeep the training. Cool.
Absolutely. One
last question before we end. What is your favorite animal and why? And it can't be a Malinois, it has to be a wild animal.
No. It's the hyena. I love them to bits. They are just feisty, and they are queen of the wild, so why not?
Yeah, awesome. Cool. Thanks so much, Karli, for joining us, and thanks to Bandit as well for being very well behaved during the podcast. And thanks for your input and all the hard work that you guys put in. It is really appreciated, and it doesn't go unnoticed. Until next time.
Thank you, Matt.